Captain's Log Supplemental. We encountered an alien satellite floating through deep space, and after investigating, the satellite began a scan that penetrated our shields. Shortly thereafter, I apparently lost consciousness. Having read the debrief from Captain Picard on his experience in becoming Cayman for a lifetime, I was quite alarmed when I came to. I expected to be thrust into the life of some alien where I would have to live out their days until their life came to its natural end. However, when I looked up, all I saw was some Ferengi talking about how great his device was for everyday home necessities. I sat there stunned, trying to figure out what was going on. After what I think was a couple minutes, the Ferengi ended his spiel with some catchy jingle, and then I woke up on the bridge. According to my science officer, after investigating the satellite, it appears that the Ferengi got a hold of one of the alien satellites and tried to adapt it for commercial use. I gotta hand it to him. It's definitely an inventive way to advertise.
Welcome back for another episode of Captain's Log Supplemental. My name is Rob. This week I'm joined by my friends and co-hosts Stanford.
Hi, that's me.
Chris.
Hey there.
And our producer Mariah.
Hi there.
For the uninitiated, Captain's Log Supplemental is a Star Trek rewatch podcast. Each week we are moving ahead in chronological order by stardate. Still on Enterprise, however, we're on season 4 now, so getting towards the end here. As we like to say at the top and bottom, please remember to rate and review on your podcast supplier of choice. Those reviews help to get us out to other Star Trek fans. So, how are you guys doing this week?
Well, got a little stuffiness going on, but other than that, not
what
terrible.
Else is new, Chris?
Hey, it's extra stuffiness, so enjoy.
Oh my god, man! Editing your podcast sounds like a clip, like a supercut of just sniffles.
Oh, dude, you should turn Chris's sniffle noises into a song.
I've probably got
Please
every
don't.
single tone. Please don't. Right?
I saw a TikTok video one time of somebody like some like realtor or something.
Yes,
turned
I know
his,
exactly
advertisement.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, over to his Gen Z, whatever, and they just made a supercut of basically that of
Just
the
him
guy's breaths.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was a
Yeah, just
trend
take
for a
that.
hot minute. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just take that and then auto-tune it into a really fun song.
Yeah, you're talented. You can do it.
Has
Whoa.
the Make It So video cropped back up in your
Oh, not yet.
for
I
the
haven't seen
Let It Snow instead of Let It Snow to Make It So?
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic. How about you, Stanford?
I got nothing this week. I thought maybe I had some good chitter chatter, but I don't know that I have any. I'm trying to think like what stupid bullshit has happened to me over the last couple days.
Nothing really. Our neighbor, who recently moved into an apartment, came by to visit us, and he's a really nice guy. The nicest old man.
He has a brain injury, so that's why he's nice.
Pretty sure he's not nice despite the brain injury.
He got Phineas Gaged as a kid, so
He is. I'm what? I don't know what that means.
are you not familiar with
Ooh.
Phineas Gage?
No, apparently not.
Back in the bad old days of railroad, carving through mountains and shit, in order to make mountains go away, they would blow them up with dynamite.
Sure.
Part of the process is you would basically drill some holes and then stuff dynamite into them, and you would tamp them
Right.
down with a tamping rod. Okay,
Mm,
then you would put the blast cap on, and then you would get away from it and blow it up.
sure.
Well, Mr. Gage, a tamper, was tamping a hole that had already had its blast cap put on, and so the
See what's
dynamite
happening.
went off. And you all right? You gonna be able to handle it?
Uh-huh. Who are you talking to right now?
You?
No, yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, I thought you said what's happening.
Nope.
Fucking weird.
No, I said I know what's happening here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the dynamite went off, and blew the rod up through his skull into his frontal lobe.
I do recall, I think, hearing this before now.
Yes, he survived and remarkably was in pretty good health afterwards, except that, like, because his frontal lobe got fucking scrambled, his personality changed. He became, like,
Sure.
different and shit. Well, our neighbor, when he was a kid, was running down some stairs with an arrow, like a bow and arrow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
because kids are dumb.
Because kids are dumb, and fell down the stairs
Okay.
and came to in the hospital with a priest reading him his last rites.
Jesus Christ.
That's terrifying.
Yes, so he also got frontal lobotomy scrambled.
Yikes. Big yikes, Doug.
Yeah, but he's like so in line with all of our beliefs. It's just like, you're not right as an old man.
So you blame his injury.
So we blame his brain injury. Nah, he's really nice. So
yeah, he's a good guy.
So yeah, he lived across the street. He has since moved out. His daughter has moved in, and he's in a smaller apartment because he's an old man, and that's all the space he needs. Him and his teeny tiny dog, Buttercup.
Aww.
This dog is like, it's like a Yorkie, but like a tiny one. Like
That's exactly the dog I pictured, actually.
Yeah,
but Buttercup.
like it's not even like a regular Yorkie. It's like a teacup Yorkie or some shit, or like a toy Yorkie or something, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And at some point, like, our neighbor was like, "Dad, watch my sister's dog, so Buttercup's the big dog of the house." And like, that's a funny joke because his dog is tiny.
Mm-hmm.
No, his sister had an even smaller Yorkie.
Oh.
Like, whatever the tiniest classification of the motherfucker couldn't get up the curb, like, with one good jump. Like, it took a couple good jumps to get up a curb. That's how tiny this fucking Yorkie was.
Related, I saw this video of this black lab with dwarfism, and oh boy. It had a big lab head and tiny little legs.
No.
Oh, it was so adorable. It was wagging. Oh my god, it was hilarious and adorable and also a little sad.
Have you ever seen a Scottish fold before?
No, I don't think I have.
Tiny little legs.
So yeah, they're cats that have like these stubby little legs.
Oh
and
yes,
their
okay. I've seen
ears
these, yes.
like fold forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very cute.
What hath we wrought upon the world?
Hmm.
I don't know. Speaking of having wrought things upon the world, so this week's
you were fire with these transitions.
Yeah, our transition
every
fire
time.
lately, thanks to Rob. Yeah.
This week's episode is season 4, episode 11, Observer Effect. We kick off this week with Reed and Travis, who are apparently chess masters now, just hanging out in the mess hall, playing a game of chess, complaining about how easy chess is, because chess, famously easy game. Stanford could probably attest to that.
Yeah, so I have a whole bunch of chess trivia for you here.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
So I was watching, like, immediately I saw the chess and I was looking at the game and I'm like, all right, so someone said, because they come in and they're already set up on a board, right? And then Travis is like, 5 moves and you win. And I'm looking at the board and I'm like, huh. I mean, like, Reed's definitely in a winning position. I don't know, 5 moves. But then I plugged the position into an analysis board on the internet. And indeed, it is a winning position. White will definitely win that. But, it's going to take a lot more than just 5 moves. Okay? No problem. But they, stop and start over and play another game. Now, here's a fun fact.
I actually know this fact.
The game they play is a real game that happened in real history.
Uh-huh.
A 1910 game between, I had it up here, Reddy and Tartakower. Now, Tartakower is like a guy who's so famous that there are chess moves named after him. So pretty big deal, right? And I don't know how much of the trivia you got into, Chris, but I was like, oh, okay. So I looked at the game, and again, Reed is black in this one, and Travis is white, which that does not work for the actors. And Travis is like, you're going to win in 5 moves. And I'm looking at the game, and literally he's playing that game from 1910, and Reed is definitely not going to win that game. He is already in a losing position, and in fact, in history, that position was lost, and the game ended up a loss for Black. Less than 5 moves later, actually 4 moves later. It was white to mate in 4 moves. So like, it's amazing how obviously somebody went and looked up a real chess game, and all they had to do was flip the board. And the dialogue would have made enough sense that like any chess master would have been like, oh my God, that's awesome. They played a real game and shit. But because they fucked it up that badly, like, it's like, oh man, come on. You couldn't even get that right? Something you looked up ahead of time?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's just impressive.
Like they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing.
Wouldn't it be funny if that's what they were doing? Like, just to get people like Matthew
Like,
angry?
you can't tell me what to do. I'll do what I want.
So yeah, unsurprisingly here, Reed, a British man who likes pineapple, and Travis, who famously is a prankster, not actually chess masters.
Well,
they
okay.
got body snatched.
So, I think they do mention that Reed is actually like the ship's best chess player.
Yes,
like
that is something we learned like a couple seasons ago.
Yeah.
I refuse. Yeah, so anyway, it seems as though they've gotten body snatched. Some incorporeal species is here to watch how the crew of the Enterprise deals with encountering a nearby planet and some scenario that they've concocted for them. And then we go straight into Faith of the Heart. Pretty short cold open this week. We come back from commercial break with poor Trip and Hoshi returning back from a Klingon garbage planet. Trip appears to have picked up a cough while he was down on the surface.
Coffee, Trip.
Coffee.
That's my note, is that he was coffee.
Yeah, he gets into a whole coughing fit.
Like, he just coughs the motherfuck, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Goes into a coughing fit, collapses on the floor, it's so bad. And Hoshi actually has to take over control of the shuttle pod and finish docking with Enterprise. So yeah, they call Phlox down to take a look at Trip and Hoshi and Decon. While he's passing through some like lab kits, I think, Hoshi also starts coughing and then just rushes to vomit in the Decon Chambers bathroom.
I guess Trip got to skip that symptom.
Yeah, he bypassed that stage.
Well, some people are affected by things differently.
That's true. That's a fair point.
Yeah. Reed and Travis's occupants, meanwhile, discuss how the humans so far are behaving just like the Klingons. There's a fun little nod here. Apparently the Cardassians have also paid the planet a visit.
Trivia note here.
Oh, it's a fun fact with Chris.
It says actually, timeline-wise, this is the first time Cardassians are mentioned in the Star Trek universe.
Wouldn't it be funny if the Cardassians are the long-lost ancestors of the Kardashians?
I made that little mental slip because whenever I mention Cardassians out loud, Lauren makes the joke, you mean Kardashians? Yeah.
Yeah. This is the moment where, like, I was already tired of this narrative tool with these two. I found this to be, like, I thought, like, just give me the plot. Like, I don't need this.
It didn't bother me. It was
yeah, I would say it didn't bother me as well. I could understand how you get tired of it, though. So yeah, not Travis visits the decon chamber window to interview Trip and Hoshi, as the ship's pilot does, I guess.
Yeah, and this is, like, I don't know how these motherfuckers have managed to go unnoticed when they're this awkward all the time.
So awkward.
Like,
yeah.
Like, they can't even be themselves properly. So, like,
nope.
Yep.
What?
Yeah. So, Trip isn't having it either, and slams the decon chamber's windows shut to get him to buzz off. Not Reed, meanwhile, visits sickbay and talks through the treatment plan with Phlox. Phlox gets similarly annoyed and shoos Reed out of the sickbay. Back in Decon, Trip and Hoshi talk through the plot of Andromeda Strain, which is a fun little
Trivia note. Trivia.
Oh.
Jesus Christ, another trivia note with Chris?
Andromeda Strain, which was actually directed by Robert Weiss. Do you know who that is and what also he directed?
I'm
This
going to
episode?
guess a Star Trek.
Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Oh, okay.
Yep. The film was based on the Michael Crichton book. They made a lot of similarities between the virus in that movie and in this episode.
Right.
Was it also silicon based?
I believe so, yeah. It also arrived via meteor and all that, so.
Huh. I did not know all of that about the Andromeda Strain. I never saw the movie. I never read the book.
Me neither.
I never saw either, but I researched.
Well, la-di-da. I was too busy looking up chess moves.
Well, sure.
So yeah, Hoshi then reveals that she got kicked out of school for Aikido throwing a higher ranked cadet. It sounds almost like an RA from like a college campus.
Man, Aikido is like...
When they tried to...
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
It's like Aikido is like one of the most useless martial arts, and yet it's like used as this like oh man, she's a black belt in Aikido. She could just throw people. That's not how Aikido works. It's fucking goddamn it.
Weeb.
Look,
yeah, so
look. I don't need
apparently
such
she-
truthful slander here. I don't know.
Yeah, she threw this guy because he tried to break up her illegal poker game, which may or may not have been illegal, but was definitely poker. Phlox, meanwhile, has figured out that it's a never-before-documented pathogen that's making Hoshi and Trip sick, and somehow discerns that they have less than 5 hours to live.
But yeah, I'm not sure where he came up with that timeline, because it's like I don't know what this is. I think it's this, but it's weird. We're not sure. Anyways, what I can tell you is it gave me a stopwatch and it says 5 hours. So good luck.
Gotta put the timer on.
Yep. Archer stops by the decon chamber to check in. He lets Trip know that it's a silicon-based virus, which is apparently weird for an M-class planet. I guess because M-class planets are designed for carbon-based life.
So, I'm not a virologist,
Okay.
but
Famously.
I'm pretty sure a silicon-based virus probably can't replicate in carbon-based life.
So that's a good question because okay, so a silicon-based virus, the way a virus works is it goes into a cell and hijacks it, right, to make more of itself.
Exactly.
And so yeah, where's it getting the silicon?
Right. There's no silicon in the host molecules.
There's a little bit. There's actually a fair amount of silicon in the human body, but not enough for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you see, the problem is that Hoshi and Trip also ingested a lot of sand while they were on the surface.
Oh, they did say it was dusty. So,
Well,
yeah.
they also transported during that time period, and so kind of Tuvix style, they got combined with the silica.
With the silica in the air.
Yeah.
So anyway, Trip is well aware that they don't stand much of a chance against a silicon-based virus. Again, they're just on top of their medical knowledge in this episode. Archer, meanwhile, tells them to just get some rest. We jump back to Stanford's favorite plot device, not Rita, not Travis, having a discussion about who best to occupy in order to witness the crew's decisions about the virus. Trip and Hoshi, meanwhile, keep reminiscing about their childhoods. Trip apparently liked tearing apart cooking appliances and wasn't so good at putting them back together again. They stand up from bed to see a creepy Phlox and T'Pol just staring at them through the decon window again.
Yeah, how did these fucking aliens manage to successfully do anything?
Also, I didn't necessarily mind them, but there was a lot of Reed Hoshi just chats in this episode where
Reed Hoshi or Trip Hoshi?
Sorry, Trip and Hoshi.
Yeah, I have a note at some point where it's what's the point of this character development? We know all of this.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better placed in season 1 or even season 2.
Sure.
when like you're still getting to know the crew, kind of, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't mind it. It did feel weird that they waited until season 4 to start like drip feeding us this stuff.
Yeah, like the dialogue itself wasn't like bad or anything.
Right, but like we already know all of this.
Right. It's well, I mean, not some of the specific details, like, but like, yeah, it's just like, what are we like? Did you just need to fill some time and figured you'd throw Hoshi some lines since I feel like she hasn't had any like 6 episodes?
Yeah, it has been nice to hear Travis talking, I guess.
Also, that, yeah, and
Yeah.
Reed for that matter. Although maybe not nice to hear him, but he didn't have any lines either. This is like we haven't given them much lines recently. We probably should.
Yeah, they probably just finished their DEI training for the year.
I wonder.
So
Yeah, so now not Phlox and not T'Pol reveal that this is a scenario created to determine if another species is worthy of first contact or not. They decide to leave Phlox and T'Pol to their work and reoccupy Travis and Reed back on the bridge. Hoshi starts screaming in her dreams, and Trip wakes her up to, get her to stop screaming, I guess.
She says, "I'll be late to class" in German.
Oh, is that what she's saying?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I guess that makes sense.
She said some shit in
This is,
Spanish
the-
first.
Mhm.
Fun fact with Chris. She reveals that she wasn't able to say goodbye to her students, so that makes sense with the German. Trip reassures her that she'll get the chance to see him again, which bold claim. Archer finds the debris cloud of a Klingon shuttle. Looks like the Klingons got out of this scenario by just blowing up their infected personnel,
That tracks.
as Klingons do.
Yeah, I mean, sure, that makes sense.
Back in the decon chamber, Hoshi pulls out her decryption chops once again and figures out the code to get out of quarantine and starts wandering the hallways in a blanket.
Yeah, like, why is this even possible? Like, this seems
because
like
math
something.
is just a language, Stanford.
This
She
just
language
seems-
hacks.
Yeah, this just seems like something you shouldn't be able to do. But also, like, I don't think there was a real solid explanation of like why she did this.
So the best I could come up with is just she's feverish and just not there
Yeah.
mentally. And
Yeah, not
delirious.
there mentally, but able to use her.
look, I didn't
advanced
say it was a
linguistic
good
skills.
reason. I said it was the best I could come up with.
It's so
Yeah, so,
random.
Archer has the power to their whole deck shut off. And then they start like trying to close all of the airlocks between all of the bulkheads, I guess. Trip catches up with her though, and keeps her from opening up an airlock and brings her back to the decon chamber.
She says goodbye in Russian.
Flock shows up, hands them a hypo syringe, and gets them to sedate Hoshi, and then Trip sedates himself and falls asleep. Phlox has figured out that a frequency of, was it gamma radiation? I can't remember. What
Ionized
was.
radiation.
Ionized radiation could potentially kill the virus, but the bad news is it will also kill the host. So
That's
they have to try and
not
figure out a
great.
way to not
ideal.
do that. Yeah.
sorry, wouldn't like a gun also kill the virus? Like, I don't understand. Like, I found a cure for killing the virus, but it also kills the host.
Well,
I can think of a lot of other things that would do the same.
I mean, at first he was like, well, that's obviously not ideal, but it's a start. Like I'll like, well, maybe we can figure out a way to
Target
aim it
things
right
more.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got you got to make a bunch of really small MRIs and then
Chemo
throw
style,
them
right?
inside of the throw them inside of their bloodstream. It'll be fine. Not Travis is starting to have second thoughts about their whole experiment. They opt to jump into Trip and Hoshi to have a private conversation, which was pretty funny because they had just gotten knocked out.
Again, the stupidest fucking people. Like, these are supposed to be advanced scientists that have been doing this for literally hundreds of years, and they're doing the
Thousands.
stupidest shit
Thousands
Yeah.
of years.
because they're
Thousands,
immediately
yeah.
caught.
They said they've been
Yeah.
doing it for like 10,000 years or something crazy like that.
Well, I didn't know if like these two individually had been doing it for 10,000 years,
sure,
you know?
Sure. Yeah.
Unfortunately for them, Phlox was keeping an eye on their camera because, of course you have a camera in your decon chamber.
Yeah, how else are you supposed to show all the sexy rubdowns? Which, by the way, I will give the credit. There was no unnecessary decon rubdowns in this episode. So good job,
That
Star
is
Trek.
true.
Considering
I
how
was worried.
how available that was, 'cause they
Right.
were in the decon like the entire time. Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Good job.
I was
Good job, Star
worried.
Trek.
I was worried they might go there because, like, towards the end of last week's episode, T'Pol kind of breaks things off with Trip.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So Trip is just like, a bachelor, I guess, again.
Mhm.
And I was worried. I was honestly worried. So I am also grateful they didn't go there. Back at sickbay, Archer and T'Pol visit Phlox. He quickly realizes that this is in fact not Archer or T'Pol. And Phlox gets to get a little bit of the backstory of our inorganians here. Turns out they're incorporeal beings, and that they previously occupied Phlox, which he was not aware of, because they can wipe memories, which useful.
So the Organians. This is not the first time that they've appeared in Star Trek.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Another fun fact with Chris.
They were first introduced in Errand of Mercy in TOS in 1967.
Were they also incorporeal then?
That I'm
I guess
not
they would
sure
have to be.
about. I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that episode, timeline-wise, takes place about 100 years after the date of this episode.
Right. Yeah. So the Organians refuse to render aid, saying that they are only here to observe. And Phlox says their behavior is appalling, which is rich coming from him.
Right. My exact thought, I'm like, excuse me, Phlox.
Phlox has a plan, but he needs the patients in sickbay. So they start opening and closing hallways to maintain a quarantine's path from decon to sickbay, which by the way, this isn't going to work.
Also,
they don't
why,
know how long it can stay airborne.
Why isn't medical decon closer to sickbay?
That's a
good
question.
Like, I feel like that seems like something that should be like right next door to itself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Phlox and of course Archer, because he just has to interject himself into everything, suit up and head for the decon chamber in hazmat suits or EVA suits. I guess it's technically. They make it to decon, but Hoshi is going into shock and is near death. She stops breathing by the time they get them to sickbay. Not Reed then comments to not Travis that someone always dies. So I guess he maintains a cynical British attitude.
By the way, Phlox says she's going into allogenetic shock or something, like some
Allogenic shock.
some sort of made up fucking word.
No, this is real actually.
That's a real thing.
Yes, allogenic shock occurs when there is a significant drop in blood volume and is very similar to hypovolemic shock, which are often used interchangeably. Apparently there's a small difference between them, though. Hypervolemic shock is due to sudden loss in blood volume due to a traumatic injury, causing the heart to be unable to properly circulate blood, where oligemic shock is used to refer to hypovolemia caused by something other than blood loss, such as loss of bodily fluids due to dehydration, heat stroke, or overproduction of sodium by the kidneys.
All right, so then let me ask you then, Dr. Chris.
Uh-huh.
Would a defibrillation fix that?
Fuck no.
Okay. Because that's what they tried.
Yeah. I mean, her heart had stopped. So, they didn't really have a ton of options.
Yeah, so it's not in fibrillation then if it stopped.
Yeah. Well, Phlox starts to remove his gloves to get a better handle on one of his med kits, but Archer stops him, saying that right now Enterprise needs its doctor more than a captain. The observers also can't believe that Archer is willing to risk his own life to, do something that he knows is probably useless. He continues to follow Phlox's instructions, but they still can't manage to resuscitate Hoshi.
Two things. One, the multiple very quick zappy zaps to Hoshi is hilarious every time.
I agree.
Because it's like zap, 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 zap. She's like, blah, blah, blah. Second,
Jesus.
It seems
It
like
was rough.
a poor design for your like emergency medical equipment to not be able to be used when you have like gloves on.
I also thought that. I'm like, aren't like anti like sealed off suits like kind of like a normal thing in medicine, especially when it comes to viruses? Like,
And like I understand that maybe like it's good for regular like HVAC kind of HVAC, that's the wrong word. Hazmat suit gloves and shit. That's fine.
Yeah.
So like maybe like if you go to a hospital today in an astronaut's uniform, like that wouldn't work. But like they're on a fucking starship. Like you'd think that this would be part of the plan.
shut up.
Listen, they haven't yet figured out that you can use a transporter to administer vaccines to people.
Oh my fucking god. Well, and this is another one of those times where like the transporter would solve everything, because why don't you, it's like, oh, we only have 5 hours to cure this. All right, load them into the buffer. Like, fuck it. They never do that. Except in Strange New Worlds, Mbega's got his daughter in there.
Yeah.
He ain't no dummy.
Yeah, apparently he's the smartest medical officer in
I
Starfleet.
don't know if that show has yet had a, like, someone's dying of a disease and we only have so much time to cure it yet. But when it does, I'm going to be fucking mad. Because, like, Dr. Mbega already solved this fucking problem in, like, episode 2.
That's true. So yeah, Not Reed still refuses to help the humans, despite Not Travis's complaints. Archer, meanwhile, helps Phlox get Trip into the high-speed railway MRI machine to deliver radiation doses. But unfortunately, it's not enough to cure Trip.
They just needed to set that oven thing to healthy Trip and pull him out. Like,
It's like, oh god, it's like an easy bake radiation oven.
yeah.
Which, okay, also, by the way, when Archer starts, like, stripping off his gloves and everything, and then, like, Reed's like, or not Reed's like, nobody's done this in over 800, like,
Fuck
in 800
off.
years of
And
of
this is
watching
where,
this.
like, at the very end, I'm like, I get pretty tired of this humans are special shtick. Like,
Yeah, it's lazy. It's just lazy.
It is lazy. And also, like, if you want to be like, this guy hasn't seen this before because he's only been doing this for a little bit, he's only seen a handful of species, sure. But they've been doing this for hundreds and maybe thousands of years, and no species has ever been a little bit selfless, like, ever.
Right.
I mean, listen, it's
What?
just been like a rotating door of Klingons and Cardassians. So, maybe.
I mean, that is the two examples they provided.
That is the two examples. Yeah, maybe like the Klingons and the Cardassians are just so stupid they keep sending people back to the same planet.
Yeah, so at this point, Phlox returns to the bridge to continue his work. Archer then stays behind because he's breached quarantine. Archer then dramatically calls to Paul, who's up on the bridge already, to let her know that she's in command now.
He's
Says
like,
that if...
by the way, don't let Gardner fuck you over. Bye.
Yeah. She asks Archer to let her know if Trip manages to regain consciousness. Trip immediately flatlines, and as one of the...
Well, I mean, like, after, like, a few seconds of shallow breathing, he does.
Yeah, we got to watch him die. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. So immediately after flatlining and dying, one of the Organians occupies his body and just sits straight up, shocking Archer. This was pretty funny.
It was
I
funny,
enjoyed the
but
scene.
Bakula did a terrible job reacting
Yeah.
to literal dead people coming up to have a conversation with him.
Yeah, and then Not Hoshi also sits straight up and starts berating Not Dead Trip for breaching protocol, which was this was a really funny conversation.
I enjoyed this scene. It was silly.
It is silly because it's also like, why didn't not Hoshi just take over Archer or not Reed or whatever? Like, why go for Hoshi at that point?
Because I don't think, like, when they're occupying somebody, it seems like that person isn't along for the ride.
Yeah, but they didn't have to. Right, but like Reed didn't need to have Archer present for this conversation, so he could have taken Archer over for the conversation, you know?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. This is more fun.
It was certainly sillier.
Archer claims that if the observers really wanted to learn more about humans, they just should have talked to them, which, good point. Not Trip is swayed by Archer's acts of compassion, which he's famous for.
Only humans, man. They're the only ones.
Yeah. So they decide to finally break protocol, cure the 3 infected people, including the 2 that are dead, which is impressive, but wipe their memories of everything. The final scene is not Travis saying that he's going to apply for first contact protocols with humans. And Not Reed replies that that's barely going to give them 5,000 years to prepare at the rate of human advancement.
Sigh.
Psych, it only takes 100 years.
What?
All right. So, on a scale of 1 to 5, where 0 is threshold, how'd you guys rate this one?
So for me, this was firmly, definitely like smack dab in the middle of standard Star Trek schlock, so it's a 3 for me.
Stanford.
I was firmly in the it could have been better, but like it was fine. I gave it a 3 as well.
Yeah.
Like I find the observer part stupid and like unnecessary. The primary plot was fine. But at least like I don't know. I'm not a fan of artificial stakes because like it's like, oh, she died. But I will say this one didn't really dwell on, like, they didn't try to make a moment of Hoshi dying only to bring her back. So like I like that made it better than most of the stuff where it's like, oh my god, she's dying, and then like it's like we all know that she's got a fucking 3-year contract. She's coming back next week. What are we doing here? It wasn't that bad. So yeah, I gave it a 3. I agree with Chris. It's just standard Star Trek nonsense.
See, for me, this was a little bit better than just standard. As far as, especially compared to the other standard episodes that we've seen, especially after last week's episode. Maybe just comparing it to last week's episode made me think it was a 4, but I gave it a 4.
So did IMDb.
Aha.
That's
that means
surprising.
that I am correct.
Like I said, it wasn't like terrible or anything. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was generally
I thought it was
enjoyable.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it. All right. We are going to take a little break here, and we'll be back for this week's Deep Dive. Welcome back. For this week's deep dive, I wanted to take a look into the concept of bottle episodes. Have either of you ever heard of this term before?
Yes.
I have, and I'm genuinely curious what your definition is going to be because I feel like this shouldn't count.
Apparently the term bottle show was created by Leslie Stevens of Outer Limits fame. I think he was one of their creators and producers. And they defined it as episodes that exist to help save on production allowances for more expensive episodes elsewhere. So the idea is they make use of existing sets and resources to minimize production costs.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I always thought a bottle episode had to take place in like one scene or like one setting, but like they were all over the goddamn ship on this episode.
They were, but I guess because it was all existing set, it was classified as a bottle episode.
Sure.
Interestingly, Daedalus was also considered a bottle episode because of that.
Sure. I mean, it's all in the ship. There's 2 episodes where they're just in the ship the whole time.
Yeah. So you can get some wildly different results in effectiveness of these types of episodes. Yeah. So like tonight's episode, I feel like was a good example of how to do it right. Daedalus is clearly an example of how to do it wrong.
Step 1, have a good plot. Or at least not a shitty one.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, it's one of those things where, like, it doesn't matter how many sets you have. If you've got a good little story to tell, like, it's fine.
Yeah. Other notable bottle shows from Enterprise include Shuttlepod 1 from Season 1.
Of course.
A Night in Sickbay, which I think that was the one we watched with your dad, right, Stanford?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so any good ones?
I liked Similitude. I don't know if you did.
No, that was dumb as shit.
No,
okay,
I enjoyed it, but yeah.
Yeah, Similitude, the one where we had to groom a person and browbeat them into quote unquote sacrificing themselves, even though we literally gave them no other option. That one,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
I gave it a 1.
And then the last one was Doctor's Orders.
We
one's
all
that?
gave Doctor's Orders a pretty good one. Which? Oh, is that the one where Phlox and T'Pol? Well, Phlox is like the only one awake.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was
That was a
pretty
good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. The first ever bottle episode in all of Star Trek was back in TOS, which is also unsurprising given on how like
They were kind
their
of
budget
famous
was.
for reusing assets that were
Yeah.
recorded by the studio.
Yeah, so their first bottle episode was The Naked Time. Interestingly, the crew also catches a virus on that episode. This is the one where Sulu whips out the fencing skills.
Yeah.
Nurse Chapel proclaims her love for Spock, and Kirk starts pining over Yeoman Rand. Just classic Star Trek there.
Yay!
Something to look forward to.
I'm so looking forward to The Naked Time.
Yep.
You hear that,
Unsurprisingly,
Yeah.
unsurprisingly, the TNG era shows have the vast majority of Star Trek's bottle episodes. The one outside of it that I thought was interesting that they considered it to be a bottle episode was the disco episode with Mud. I didn't know that was considered a bottle episode.
I'm trying to
The one
remember. I
where-
haven't watched it in a while.
The one where he's on the ship and doing the same day over and over again?
Yeah,
I mean, I think he's just on the
There's-
ship the whole time, right?
there's like a CG space whale. I don't know. Yeah, I guess you're right. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if CG counts, right? Like, because in this
Yeah.
one even had had an in orbit shot, right?
That's true. Yeah, like I was saying, the TNG era had the vast majority of the bottle episodes, which makes sense given how prolific Star Trek media was at the time. TNG episodes like The Offspring, the one where Data creates the new android,
Mm-hmm.
and Lower Decks, the inspiration for Lower Decks, both examples of bottle shows. Deep Space Nine episodes like Dr. Bashir, I presume, where Bashir's parents come back.
Yeah.
We find out that he was genetically altered as a child. And The Explorers, where Sisko rebuilds the Bajoran light sail ship.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Voyager, which has the dubious honor of having the most famous of all Star Trek bottle episodes.
They call Threshold a bottle episode? They go to a swamp.
They call Threshold a bottle episode.
Interesting.
There's a whole scene in a swamp.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm surprised. That's interesting.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Again, like, what is a bottle episode then? Because it's like, oh, well, it's like 90% of Star Trek bottle episodes because, like, most of the filming happens on their fucking ship. Like,
Hey, Stanford.
Yeah?
Could you please define grand strategy game for me?
Oh my God, here we go again.
What is roguelike?
Or roguelite.
I actually do have an operable difference between roguelike and roguelite.
Go on.
I was gonna leave it hanging. Why'd you have to say it?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I guess I'm done talking. A roguelite has, in my mind and in general use, roguelite is where there are meta things that you can change to make the game different between rounds, as opposed to just like, think of like Hades, where you can like make yourself stronger and shit with your like other currencies and things, and then you go back into the run and do it again. That's
Okay.
roguelite. Roguelike is more like FTL, where like, you know, you might have a slightly different start or whatever, but like the game is still the game, and really all the random rolls are what is different, you know?
Sure.
Gotcha. Okay.
So glad we cleared that up.
Definitely cleared it up. Just like we cleared up what bottle episodes are.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we're going to be back in a couple of minutes here for some potpourri with Stanford.
Whee! All right, Chris, I need you to brace yourself, okay?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh boy.
I have a sound-based trivia, but it is not I am not fucking with you.
Fuck your mother.
I am genuinely not. I promise you, as a friend and as a potential lover, I am not fucking with you. All right? But I need y'all to connect to... I'm going to stream a window.
Did you say as a potential lover?
Yeah.
He did. Yeah. He said that.
I just rolled in for that part. Okay.
All right, you ready?
Okay, so what's the
I haven't even come back into the segment yet, so
Okay,
you gotta give me a goddamn moment.
Okay, listen. There's
fine.
no way we're going to cut that potential lover shit out. That was definitely.
I'll
in the
get it in.
segment.
I'll get it in.
That's what she said.
Also, welcome back, everybody. Today I have crafted a little trivia game, and I can hear Chris gritting his teeth all the way from Kansas City. Not Kansas City, Missouri. You don't live in Kansas City.
About 2.5 hours outside of Kansas City.
But I have crafted a sound-based trivia game today, and the game is Name That Sound. Okay, I have collected an assortment of Star Trek sound effects. All right, and we're going to do first to the party. Whoever can name what the sound effect is gets a point. Now, here's the catch. The catch is, if I say, and I don't have this sound, so I'm going to use it as an example. If I play a sound that is the phasers firing, and you go, that's phasers, that's worth a point. But if the other person can be more specific and say like, well, those are the phasers from the Enterprise and TNG, they steal the point. Okay? All right? I'm pretty sure all of these can get a little more specific, but there is a chance that some of them, like, it's as specific as it can get. But I will let you know as we get there. So first to answer the question gets the point. First person to be more specific, but then the other person has the chance to be more specific and and steal the point.
But just more specific the one time, so they're not just going to go back and forth.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't need this is obviously the phaser firing in the 3rd episode of the 2nd season of TNG. Like, no, that's not helpful.
See, it sounds different because the Doctor wasn't the same actor.
All right. So I'm gonna start with. I don't have these in a particular order, so I'm gonna start with a fairly easy one. Here we go. Are you ready?
Yep.
Oh,
it's the communicator from TOS.
That is correct, and as specific as I was going to get. So Chris just gets the point.
Excuse me. It is specifically the handheld communicator because you don't use badges at that
Shut
point.
the fuck up.
All right, some of these are pretty obscure, some of these are not. So here we go. That was the gimme.
Rob doesn't get to steal that point.
He can't be more specific than TOS communicator.
Oh,
By the way, I guess
versus,
I should be fair. If you had been wrong, I would have let Rob just have the point with communicator. Like if you get specific right away, but you're wrong on your specificity, you don't get the point.
Fair enough.
Yeah. To keep it fair. All right. Okay, let's go with here, this one.
It's a hypo spray.
Correct.
Jesus.
I am so screwed.
I was worried there might be like Chris would be at a disadvantage because he's all the way in Missouri and you're in the next room, but apparently that doesn't fucking matter. All right. Fine. Try this one on for size, Chris.
Oh man, that traveled through my headphones.
What?
I'm not sure on that one.
The cloaking thing.
It is not. Good guess though.
Oh.
Can you play it again?
This is probably the hardest one. Absolutely. Actually, there might be one that's harder.
Is that a tractor beam?
It is not. It is the Bajoran wormhole.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I said, that one was pretty obscure.
That's tough.
All right, here we go. Next one.
Photon torpedo.
Phaser. Oh, god damn it.
It is the proton torpedo. Rob, can you be any more specific?
It is the photon torpedo launcher of the USS Enterprise.
Which one?
D.
Correct.
Nice.
Yes, that is the TNG torpedo sound. All right, let's go with this.
Oh, it's the all captain
that's
on
the-
deck.
That is not correct, actually. Rob, can you give it to me?
It's the notice that they're about to make an announcement aboard the ship.
That is correct.
Ah, okay.
Yes, it is. It was often Captain on Deck. However, it was just an announcement whistle.
Fair enough.
Y'all are keeping track of these points, right? Because I am not.
I think we're 2 and 2.
You didn't
Whoa.
tell them to.
I apologize.
Yeah, to be fair, usually the one running the trivia is keeping track of points.
Yeah, I stopped that tradition because I can't keep track of more than one thing at a
You
time.
can't be bothered.
All right, here's another one.
Red alert.
Red alert is correct. Rob, can you be more specific? And I will tell you the specificity here is relatively obscure.
Red alert of the Defiant.
Ooh, no, but like you're kind of on a correct track. It was actually a Klingon red alert.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right. Let's do this one.
Oh, it's the
Elcars.
it's
What did you say, Rob?
I can't remember if it's called Elcars in TNG, but it's like the computer beepy thingy.
Not quite. Go ahead, Chris.
it's
No.
it's when somebody's like knocking on a door. It's the
Yeah.
it's when they press the button to like say I'm here. It's like basically like a doorbell for your quarters.
Yes. Can you be more specific, Rob?
In TNG.
Correct.
Enterprise
It is
D.
the
Oh, come
TNG
on.
doorbell. Hey, man.
No, he guessed wrong. He doesn't get a steal.
Yeah, I did guess wrong.
Oh, I didn't establish that rule, but I'm fine playing by it.
You did too establish
Yeah,
that rule.
I said they couldn't go back and forth. Try and steal from
Oh,
each other.
yeah. Okay. I thought the back and forth was like you couldn't go more specific than specific, but that's fine. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go to a more obscure one. Here we go.
Is it a warp engine? Like the warp port?
Not a warp engine.
Oh, okay. The ending threw me off. All right. That was
Rob,
a
do you have
long
a guess?
audio clip.
Is it a shuttle?
It is not a shuttle. That is a turbo lift from DS9.
As soon as I heard the end of it, I knew it was a turbo lift.
And I wanted to let it play because if you listen, there's like a beep, beep,
Yeah,
beep
yeah.
as they pass the levels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about this one?
Red alert.
Red alert is correct. Chris, can you be more specific?
Is that the DS9 red alert?
It is not. It is the Voyager red alert. All right. This one's just for Rob. No, you can both answer it, but like, hopefully Rob will get it.
Oh shoot. Is that the like science scanner from TOS? I feel
That's
like I remember Spock
yes!
looking into a thing.
That is exactly correct. It is
Yes.
Spock's viewer thing from TOS.
It's annoying
Rob.
as shit.
Oh yeah, it sounds real weird, doesn't it?
Nicely done. Nicely done, Rob. All right. This is probably the hardest one here.
Oh, that's Q disappearing things or changing things.
Holy shit, Chris. Nicely done. I did not know if y'all would get that one.
I know the Q noise.
Chris is a fan of this fucking sound. This sound round. All right. This is an easier one.
Oh, it's going to work.
Warp.
Chris got the jump on you there, Rob. Can you tell me what's going to warp?
TNG Enterprise D.
That is correct.
Good job.
How are we looking
just-
on points?
I need you to understand that I said TNG Enterprise D for every single one of the guesses. that made.
I know you did. I fucking know you did. I think it's 6-5 me. I think. Does that sound right, Rob?
Yeah, that feels right.
Okay.
All right, let's see if this either ties us up or if it doesn't, then we will call it here. Okay, this is the last one. But I do have more if there's a tie.
Call alert.
Ooh, okay, those words mean things. What does that mean?
Someone's calling into a room.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. Can you be more specific, Chris?
Like, it's more specific as to what the calling is, or what ship it appeared in, or
Yes.
What show, what ship, that kind of stuff.
okay.
There's
Fuck.
only one answer here, Chris. You know what it is. Just say it.
No, I can't do it. It can't be right more than that many times. Is it from TOS?
It is not. That one is from Enterprise. That's the Enterprise door charm. Chime.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. So it is now tied. So
yeah.
let's go with...
Can't just let me win, huh? I see how it is.
You were fucking crushing it until Ron just started stealing shit. Here, let's go with an obscure one, which I think I have. Here it is.
Transporter from Deep Space Nine.
Incorrect.
Is that the Borg beam?
No, but that was a good guess. It is a tractor beam from TNG, just the Enterprise's tractor beam.
Okay.
All right, I need another one.
That's not what it says.
What do you mean that's not what it says?
It doesn't say TNG.
Oh, you know what? So you're right. Their title is wrong. The actual file name is TNG Tractor 3. But yes, it does say DS9 Tractor, but that is because they fucked up their title. Okay. Let's do this one. This one's a little more obscure as well, since he's supposed to be a tiebreaker.
Oh, it's a force field in Enterprise. Like a corridor force field.
Okay. Rob, can you be more specific about what's going on with that force field?
No.
Okay, then Chris wins the game.
What are you looking for there exactly?
That is specifically the sound that the force field makes when you touch it.
I was wondering if that's what you're going for.
Yeah, because it's got a different sound for like starting up and shutting down, and then it's got that one very specific sting when it gets touched. Oh, man. Oh, okay, that was fun. So I guess, Chris, congratulations. You have won.
Woo, I won a sound game. I'm
You won a
amazed.
sound game. Yeah, I had, Jesus Christ. How many of these did I have? I had a bunch. I had 30 of them. So.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Yeah, there was a website that, and I didn't say it ahead of time because I didn't want to like get you guys thinking too hard, but it only went through like Enterprise. It didn't have any of the new trick shit, but you didn't guess any new trick stuff, so I wasn't really worried about it.
All the sounds sounded old.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, this, you know, today I came up with that. I'm like, oh man, I should do like a sound effect game. That would be fun. So I'm looking on the internet for sound effect like databases, and of course I'm getting like fucking GeoCities era websites here. So this is just a gold mine of crappy internet.
Oh yeah,
but I managed to find one that had just a shit ton of them.
Amazing.
So, good times. I guess I'll throw a link to that in the show notes. I can find it again. So, all right, cool. Thank you everybody for joining us for this relatively short episode of Captain's Log Supplemental. We will be back next week with a fun episode, just trucking along through this goddamn show. As I say at the top and the bottom, please like and subscribe. Wait, no. Please rate and review. Tell your friends. And,
if they're watching on YouTube, they could like and subscribe.
I guess they could. Yeah, that's true. We do technically, like, the actual episodes do go out on YouTube, so they could like and subscribe to that. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. You can follow us on Twitter at PodCLS or send us hate mail at podcls3@gmail.com.